Today on the newscast, Israel carries out airstrikes on Damascus yet again. Is an ancient prophecy from Isaiah taking shape? Get my take next. Hey folks, Eric Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman newscast. For the first time since July 19th, last night overnight, Israel reportedly carried out airstrikes in Syria, in particular targeting the Syrian capital of Damascus yet again. Now, folks, as we have detailed for you many times here in the newscast, in really the past few years, in particular recent months, Israel has carried out many strikes in Damascus for two reasons primarily. Number one, Damascus is a transit point, in particular Damascus International Airport, for Iranian weapons shipments that are heading through Syria on their way to southern Lebanon and into the hands of Iran's most lethal proxy, Hezbollah. That's number one. Number two, a good deal of Iranian-backed militias are based in and around Damascus, and it is also home to weapons factories which presumably are producing, rolling off the assembly lines, advanced weapons that could, and would be used against Israel. So Israel, needless to say, has taken action time and time again in Damascus, and reportedly that is what happened last night once again. We're going to break down all the latest details for you. Also, the prophetic implications of everything happening in Damascus. Did the prophet Isaiah have something to say about the future of Damascus thousands of years ago? We're going to break it down, and I want your take on that as well. Before we get into it, just a quick reminder to subscribe to the Watchman News channel right here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Folks, as you can see, prophetic events are unfolding at such a rapid clip in these Bible times in which we are living right now that you don't want to miss a single upload right here on the Watchman News channel. So be sure to subscribe and join us here every single day. And hey, it is absolutely free. Let's get into it. What went down last night in Damascus, the Syrian capital? According to media sources in the region, Israel carried out strikes in Damascus, killing 4 Syrian regime soldiers of the Syrian army of Bashar al-Assad, and several more were wounded as well. Now remember, the Syrian regime works in tandem with the Iranian regime and Hezbollah throughout Syria at these weapons factories, and that was what was reportedly targeted last night, weapons warehouses and depots yet again in and around Damascus. Now, it was to the point last year, folks, we reported here that Israel actually shut down Damascus International Airport for the better part of a week because these weapons shipments just kept coming in through that airport, many times on civilian flights, essentially disguised. So Damascus International Airport was shut down for a time. It continues to be a target because Iran hasn't quite gotten the memo. The more Israel has struck the Iranian regime and its assets in and around Damascus, the more it seems the Iranian regime continues to push. And folks, what we have here is essentially a collision course where Iran and Hezbollah say, we are in Syria to stay, and Israel says, oh no you don't, this is a non-starter for us and an absolute red line for obvious reasons. Look, Iran wants to use Syria as a launching pad for attacks against Israel. What they want to do is duplicate in Syria what they have very successfully accomplished next door in Lebanon, southern Lebanon to be exact, where Hezbollah has some 150,000 rockets and missiles pointed at every inch of Israel right now. We've detailed the increasing tensions on the Lebanon-Israel border here on the newscast in recent weeks. Duplicate that in Syria, in Iran's view, that's a complete coup. Then you really have Israel surrounded, and you have a base from which you can launch further attacks against Israel. Obviously, Israel says that's an absolute no-go, as well as Iran's efforts to transit precision-guided missiles, PGMs, through Syria. And folks, those precision-guided missiles do exactly what their name says. They're designed to hit targets with greater accuracy and greater precision. Iran is hell-bent on accomplishing this, and Israel is determined to stop them. So again, we've got a collision course, and you saw the effects of that yet again overnight in Damascus. Now, Israel, as is its MO, did not have comment on these strikes. I'm sure Iran and the Assad regime are fuming about them, but the answer here for them is real simple. Stop building weapons to attack Israel inside of Syria, number one. And number two, if you're Iran, get out of Syria. And Hezbollah, get out of Syria. Why are you there? So I think that's the ultimate solution, but we know that's not going to happen without force. So there is clearly a showdown coming in Syria. We've called it the Great Northern War here on the newscast. It would encompass Syria and Lebanon, and Israel going toe-to-toe with Iran, Hezbollah, and their various jihadist allies in those two countries. Of course, the entire ring of fire that surrounds Israel would ignite in that event. I'm talking Gaza, Hamas and Islamic Jihad getting involved. I'm talking perhaps even the Houthis in Yemen further to the south. That day is coming, and it may be rapidly approaching as we see hostilities ramp up along the Israel-Lebanon border. And of course, in Syria, repeatedly for years now, it is a battle zone between Israel and Iran's proxies. Now, speaking of Syria, and I mentioned the prophetic implications at the top, let me rewind to Thursday, August 3rd. If you missed it, folks, here on the newscast, I strongly encourage you to go into our archives and check out our newscast from Thursday, August 3rd, in which I laid out a very alarming report from the Alma Research and Education Center in Israel, detailing how in a future conflict with Israel, Hezbollah may very well use chemical weapons. God forbid, but this report was disturbing to say the least and eye-opening, and there is a Syria link here. In northwestern Syria, there is a Syrian, basically, military complex called the CERS, C-E-R-S Center, where the Syrian regime, according to this Alma report, is developing weapons of mass destruction, certainly chemical and biological weapons. Hezbollah and the Iranian regime are closely guarding this center. Now, Israel has carried out airstrikes against it over the months, but they haven't completely neutralized the threat coming from this Syrian regime, essentially weapons industrial factory. And there are chemical weapons there, according to this Alma report. Again, I encourage you to check that report out. Now, and this report said, look, it cannot be ruled out that Hezbollah would use chemical weapons in a future confrontation with Israel. Folks, if that is the case, if the Assad regime or the Iranian regime or Hezbollah were foolish enough to go that route and use chemical weapons against the state of Israel, what do you think Israel's response would be? Israel would respond against not only Iran and Hezbollah, but against the Assad regime, Syria, which openly hosts Iran and Hezbollah on its soil, which is collaborating with them, and which hosts and is developing these weapons on Syrian soil. Syria would pay a high price as well, which brings us to the prophetic implications. We've mentioned it here before on the newscast. Many of our commenters here on the channel ask me about this. Every time we post, we say, hey, there was yet another Israeli strike against Damascus. People are asking in the comments, what about Isaiah 17? And what they are referencing in particular is the book of Isaiah, chapter 17, verse 1, which says, and there are different translations I know, but which says in essence that a day is coming when Damascus will cease to be a city. It will disappear from being a city, and it will become, quote, a ruinous heap. Now, folks, a little bit of backdrop here. Remember, Damascus is one of the world's oldest inhabited cities, going back thousands of years. To my knowledge, it has never completely been destroyed or razed to the ground. Even the Mongols, which destroyed everything, who destroyed everything in their path, did not completely destroy Damascus. So it would seem that Isaiah 17 has yet to be fulfilled. Now, I know there are various takes on this. Some say, no, it was fulfilled over the last decade in the Syrian civil war. And yet, I disagree strongly, because Damascus continues to be a city. Parts of Damascus absolutely have been a ruinous heap, but it has not ceased to be a city, to the point where its international airport is still up and running. On our live stream this Wednesday, August 9th, I want to dig into this with you all. The live stream is 1 hour between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, where we take viewer questions as well. So I would really like to get your take on this. Do you think Isaiah 17 verse 1, that prophecy, is yet to come? Perhaps you think it was already fulfilled. I'd love to get your take, because we're talking a lot here in the newscast, and prophecy watchers are talking about, obviously, the war of Gog and Magog, the book of Ezekiel, chapters 38 and 39. Some talk about Psalm 83. Is that yet to be fulfilled? And Isaiah 17 is absolutely a passage that many people are bringing up as they see the chess pieces moving on the board in the Middle East right now. And when we have frequent action in Damascus, like I'm outlining for you again today, which occurred last night, and we have reports like we saw last week, chemical weapons development in Syria, you can absolutely see where some dangerous days may lie ahead in that country and in Damascus. Would love to get your take. Let me know what you think. That live stream, again, will be between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, August 9th. And we get a chance during that hour-long live stream to have kind of some one-on-one personal time here with the Watchmen viewers and a give and take, so it's a lot of fun. So be sure to join us for the live stream then. Until tomorrow, thanks so much for joining us here on the Watchmen Newscast. God bless you, and remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchmen Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.